The first and most steady perspective on Machiavelli is that of an educator of wickedness. The German-conceived American savant Leo Strauss (1899–1973) starts his understanding starting here. The sovereign is in the practice of the mirror for rulers, i.e., books of guidance that empowered sovereigns to see themselves like reflected in a mirror, which started with the Cyropaedia by the Greek history specialist Xenophon, 431–350 BC, and went on into the medieval times. Preceding Machiavelli, works in this type encouraged sovereigns to embrace the best ruler as their model. However, Machiavelli's variant prescribes that a sovereign go to the efficacious truth of things and renounce the norm of the thing to do, in case he achieve his ruin. To keep up with himself, a ruler should figure out how not to be great and use or not utilize this information, as per need. A spectator would see such a sovereign as directed by need, and from this viewpoint Machiavelli can be deciphered as the pioneer behind present-day political theory, a discipline in light of the genuine condition of the world rather than how the world may be in utopias like the Republic of Plato or the City of Lord of Holy Person Augustine. This second, flippant translation can be tracked down in works by the German student of history Friedrich Meinecke and the German scholar Ernst Cassirer. The irreverent understanding attaches on Machiavelli's continuous hotel to need to pardon activities that could some way or another be denounced as corrupt. Yet, Machiavelli additionally educates the utilization with respect to judiciousness, specifically conditions, and, however he now and again offers rules or solutions for sovereigns to embrace, he doesn't look to lay out careful or widespread laws of governmental issues in the way of present-day political theory. Machiavelli isolates territories into those that are gained and those that are acquired. As a rule, he contends that the more troublesome it is to obtain command over and express, the simpler it is to clutch it. The justification for this is that the feeling of dread toward another ruler is more grounded than the adoration for a genetic sovereign. Thus, the new ruler, who depends on a fear of discipline that never neglects you, will succeed, yet a ruler who anticipates that his subjects should stay faithful to their obligations of help will be frustrated. The ruler will view that as each needs incredible him when demise is a ways off. At the same time, when the sovereign requirements his subjects, they by and large downfall to act as guaranteed. Consequently, every ruler, whether new or old, should view himself as another sovereign and figure out how to depend on one's own arms, both in a real sense in raising one's own military and figuratively in not depending on the generosity of others. The new ruler depends on his own temperance, however, in the event that ethicalness is to empower him to obtain a state, it should have another significance particular from the new confirmation goodness of looking for harmony. Machiavelli's thought of virtue requires the sovereign to be concerned first with the craft of war and to look for not simply security but rather additionally brilliance, for greatness is remembered for need. Virtue for Machiavelli is ideals not for the well-being of its own yet rather for the standing it empowers rulers to get. Charity, for instance, doesn't help a ruler, on the grounds that the beneficiaries may not be thankful, and luxurious showcases require burdening of the sovereign's subjects, who will detest him for it. Subsequently, a sovereign ought not be concerned on the off chance that he is held to be miserly, as this bad habit empowers him
to run the show. Likewise, a ruler shouldn't think often about being held brutal. The length of the remorselessness is very much utilized. Machiavelli some of the time utilizes virtue in the conventional sense as well, as in a popular entry on Agathocles, the so-called Lord of Sicily, whom Machiavelli portrays as a most phenomenal skipper, however one who came to drive by criminal means. Of Agathocles, that's what Machiavelli composes: one can't call it uprightness to kill one's residents, double-cross one's companions, to be without confidence, without kindness and without religion. Yet in the exceptionally next sentence he talks about the excellence of Agathocles, who did everything. Prudence, as indicated by Machiavelli, means to diminish the influence of fortune over human undertakings, since fortune holds men back from depending on themselves. At first Machiavelli concedes that fortune governs half of men's lives. However, at that point, in a scandalous illustration, he looks at fortune to a lady who allows herself to be won more by the reckless and the youthful, who order her with greater boldness, than by the people who continue mindfully. Machiavelli can't just excuse or supplant the conventional idea of moral excellence, which gets its solidarity from the strict convictions of standard individuals. His own excellence of dominance coincides with customary moral prudence, yet likewise utilizes it. A ruler who has the excellence of dominance can order fortune and oversee individuals to a degree up until recently never imagined. In the last part of The Ruler, Machiavelli composes an energetic, urging to hold on to Italy and to liberate her from the brutes, evidently France and Spain, which had been overwhelming the divided landmass. He requires a deliverer, referencing the marvels that happened as Moses drove the Israelites to the guaranteed land, and closes with a citation from an enthusiastic sonnet by Petrarch. The last part has driven numerous to a third translation of Machiavelli as a loyalist as opposed to as an unbiased researcher.